Stephen Moses today were talking about how the pace of the game is a lot faster and how it's changed even from last year. Where have you kind of seen that pace affect you guys this season in terms of just like offense and defense?
I mean, for me individually, I notice it as a 5-man. Offensively, our job has changed throughout the years. As a big, you need to be able to pass, dribble, shoot the ball. But now, on the defensive end, is more than just rim protection, guarding the pick and roll. Like if teams play this fast and this chaotic in a way, you kind of have to adapt too on the defensive end. So for me, on a personal level, it means guarding, inside and on the outside. And as a team, it's a lot more chaos out there, and you just kind of have to. And I think the biggest thing for us is whatever we do defensively, we just got to do it with 100% effort. I think you get in most trouble if you kind of like are uncertain if you should switch this or if you should stay home, and that's where you give up a lot of points. But if we just attack every play, with 100% intensity, then it's okay if you make some mistakes because the people in the back are doing the same thing, and you kind of help each other out like that.
To follow on that, I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how important is communication? I think some of the vets talked after last game about the communication maybe wasn't where it was supposed to be. Do you feel that, and how important is that when you playing at that kind of speed?
Yeah. I mean, it makes all the difference, obviously, and like I said earlier, I think if the people in the front court just do everything with 100% decisiveness, then if they make a mistake, well, then at least it's clear what the mistake is. So maybe you don't execute a switch right, or somebody gets behind the defense, and then the people in the back line, me or Draymond, like it's easier for them to see the play and to anticipate and to help each other out, and so you got to talk, and with that talking is a certain decisiveness, so everybody can adapt to each other. Like if there's no talk, now all of a sudden we're letting people loose, and now it's hard to help each other because you don't know what the other guy is doing. So as long as we execute our defensive schemes with a 100% certainty, now it becomes easier to help each other.
Even from last year to this year, have you noticed like big trends that have changed around the NBA when it comes to pace, when it comes to just how these teams are going about their offenses?
I mean, I would say we're 7 games in, so it's hard to say that this is, and it differs very much per team. Like you saw, the Clippers game was a very slow-paced game, and then you play teams like Portland and the Bucks and Indiana too. They played very fast, and I think it'll differ from night to night, but in general it changes some of the concepts that you need to apply on defense. Like you need to run back, and you need to load up to the ball, and some of the older concepts aren't as important anymore once teams play with that much pace.
I think Steph, after the game in Indiana, called it kind of a look in the mirror type of game. Did it feel like those 2 losses a little bit of a wake-up call this early in the season, and can that be good to have early in the season?
In a way, it might be good for us. I mean, we started on a roll. You lose a tough game in Portland where kind of feel like they played a really good game and our legs weren't fully under us, and then you win some great games versus Denver, and you beat the Lakers, and you win a big game versus the Clippers. But it is important to see that we're not an invincible team, even though you have all this star power, and Steph and Jimmy can win any game on any given night. But it's important to see that if we really want to take this thing far, is that we have to clean up and we have to adapt to this pace and play type style.
And as someone who bounces between starting or beginning the game off the bench, has that been a transition or a change in kind of trying to find your rhythm when it comes to like shooting the ball as well?
I wouldn't say so. Just these early games, we're still, as a team, we're finding a rhythm. Me, myself, I know that I'm a great shooter, and I know that the ball will start falling for me. I've had one good shooting night, and for the rest, I've been kind of searching for it. But whatever my role is on a given night, it doesn't change the way I approach the game and how I approach my shot.
A little bit of a bigger picture, but you guys have an NBA Cup game on Friday. I'm just curious your thoughts on that high-level intensity basketball early in the season to get the focus and trying to get to Vegas, which you guys were so close to getting there last year.
Yeah, excited. I think every game obviously should be played at 100% intensity, but seeing the court in a different color is definitely a cool thing, and I personally really like the concept of the NBA Cup, so I think it'll be a good time. I don't think our approach will change in any way, but I'm excited for it.
Moses, how would you assess your guys' defense right now through 7 games?
I think we got to read and react. Different team, different year. Kind of got to. We figuring some different stuff out. So different rotations, different lineups, matching other teams, different cadences. So I think it's kind of just in a point of read and react.
Steve really emphasized the change in the pace, obviously, of the game right now and how fast teams are playing. What has that transition been like for you guys defensively, too, to kind of learn on the fly these teams that are just running and gunning?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say with my last answer. I know I kind of jumbled it up, but different pace. Guys are playing a lot faster on offense and defense, so just adapting to that is kind of where we're at.
Defensively, like Steve was talking about, sort of guarding guard to guard pick and roll actions. What sort of is the process there for a guy like you who's on the perimeter a lot, point of attack defender, in those actions?
It's different than when we're not switching. I don't want to get too detailed into it, but it's a different mentality and a lot of differences from the beginning of the play that you have to kind of adjust to, and some of those are becoming more clear to me. I know that's kind of vague, but I don't want to give up my game plan.
Good job. What have you noticed out of this? What have you noticed out of this Phoenix Suns team that stands out to you early in the season?
Another team that plays fast and aggressive. They got talent in different areas on the floor. So it's just another young, fast team.
Moses, when you have a stretch of 10 out of 12 on the road, now 8 of the next. Oh.
Marco's ready.
And 8 of the next 10. What's the process like as a player, knowing you have such a huge stretch of road games here? Anything different, or mentally how you get in the mindset to play a lot of road games right now?
I think it's a lot about your routine on the road, being able to, get your rest. This last one was pretty tough, going over there, going so far, different time zones and everything. But as an NBA player, you got to get used to that. So I think most of that process is outside of the game and just having a schedule, having a routine.
It's early in the season, but like when you kind of lose games that you're maybe supposed to win, like how do you sort of, as a locker room, kind of talk about like bouncing back and everything?
I think it's a wake up call. Sometimes you get comfortable. We have some big wins, but then you have that reality check to make sure you stand on your P's and Q's. So I think it's a good thing in a way. Especially that happened early on in the year, so we know you're not too good to lose to anybody in this NBA. Everybody's a good team, so just having that respect going onto the floor every night.
A little bit of a bigger picture, but you guys play an NBA Cup game on Friday. I'm just curious, as a player, how different these NBA Cup games feel and the motivation to get to Vegas. Obviously, there's a financial one, but just to kind of play high-level basketball early in the season.
Yeah, I like it. I like that dynamic a lot, especially last year we got really close. So that kind of makes you want to go do it again, go to Vegas, go experience it all. I've never had that experience. I've experienced every other game in the NBA pretty much by now except for that one. So the competition and everybody wants to go and win the NBA Cup.
Just what are you seeing from you guys defensively right now with regards to some of the breakdowns, and where can some improvement come?
I think some of it we just got to get on the same page. We have different terminology, different principles that are changing with the change of the game. So everybody just has to be on the same page and communicate.
Change with the game with regards to like pace and stuff like that and tempo?
Yeah, so if we're switching 1 through 5, then it might not have the same principles that if you're switching a guard-to-guard screen in a regular situation, if we're switching all game, like just small details like that to where we just got to get on the same page.
Underrated Warrior making a case for more playing time. Quinten Post has been quietly making a name for himself with the Golden State Warriors, showing that he deserves a bigger role on the court. Despite the arrival of veteran Al Horford, which initially seemed likely to limit his minutes, Post has demonstrated that he can contribute meaningfully and could soon see more consistent playing time. Having a 25-year-old like Post ready to take on important minutes is a huge asset for the Warriors. Even without him, Golden State has a solid rotation of big men. But if Post continues to develop and earn Steve Kerr's trust, carving out minutes for him could become a luxury that strengthens the team's depth even further. How has Quinten Post performed so far? In the first 7 games of the season, Post has averaged just 12.7 minutes per game. Despite limited time, he has started 3 games and played in every matchup so far. While his shooting efficiency has been inconsistent early on, shooting 31.6% from 3 on 2.7 attempts per game, the sample size is still small, and recent performances suggest he's finding his rhythm. His most impressive showing came as a starter against the Los Angeles Clippers, where Post played 24 minutes and 43 seconds and hit 4 of 7 three-pointers. He maximized his opportunity, finishing with a +34 ±, demonstrating his potential to impact games when given extended minutes. Even more encouraging is the chemistry he's shown alongside Draymond Green. In 68 minutes shared on the floor this season, the duo has produced a combined net rating of +34.1, including an offensive rating of 122.63 and a defensive rating of 88.49, a clear sign that Post can contribute on both ends of the floor. Of course, with Horford fitting seamlessly into the rotation, Post may not immediately get as much playing time as some hoped. But even in a season where opportunities seemed limited, he has proven he deserves a role in the Warriors' rotation at center, a promising sign for his growth and the team's depth. Looking ahead, if Post continues to develop, he could become a reliable option for Kerr, adding energy, spacing, and defensive versatility when called upon. The Warriors appear to have a hidden gem in Post, one ready to step up and deliver when given the chance. This season, all signs point to him earning more consistent minutes and proving that he belongs on the floor alongside Golden State stars. If Quinten Post continues to impress, his expanded role could have ripple effects throughout the Warriors' rotation. With Draymond Green logging heavy minutes as the team's defensive anchor, Post's ability to share the floor effectively allows Kerr to manage his veteran stars' workload more strategically. This could be especially important as the season progresses and the intensity of back-to-back games and playoff contention increases. Moreover, Post's emergence adds a layer of flexibility to Golden State's lineups. His ability to stretch the floor with three-point shooting, combined with his defensive awareness, gives the Warriors more options to match up against bigger, more physical opponents. This versatility could prove crucial in tight games, especially against teams in the Western Conference where frontcourt matchups are often pivotal. The rise of Post also sends a message to other younger players in the Warriors system. Strong performances will be rewarded, regardless of draft status or initial expectations. For a team chasing a championship in a league that increasingly values depth and adaptability, having reliable contributors like Post could make the difference in close playoff series. From a broader perspective, his development may also influence the Warriors' trade and roster strategies. If Post can consistently produce in key minutes, Golden State might feel less pressure to seek external solutions for their center rotation, allowing them to focus resources elsewhere, perhaps on perimeter depth or bench scoring. Fans and analysts alike have started taking notice of Post's contributions, particularly when he steps up in high-pressure moments. Should he maintain or elevate his performance, his presence could alter how opponents game plan against the Warriors, forcing them to account for a player who can both defend multiple positions and knock down critical shots. In short, Quinten Post's evolution isn't just a personal success story. It could reshape Golden State's season, giving them a hidden advantage as the campaign unfolds. If Kerr finds ways to integrate him more fully, the Warriors could gain a dynamic edge that few teams can match. The Warriors are making a critical mistake with Quinten Post, and it needs to be fixed, fast. It doesn't make much sense. Quinten Post was the standout in Tuesday's win over the LA Clippers, hitting 4 3-pointers and showing real impact in the paint. Yet, despite that strong performance, the second-year center has averaged just 22 minutes across the past 2 games. Post now boasts the second-best plus-minus on the Warriors, trailing only Draymond Green, yet he ranks 10th in minutes played in Steve Kerr's rotation. 7 games in is more than enough to see that this is a misstep, especially after his impressive showing against the Clippers. Post Malone has been a key factor in 2 of Golden State's most effective lineups this season. The combination of Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, Jimmy Butler, Green, and Post has posted a staggering plus 66.9 in just 16 minutes together. Meanwhile, the lineup of Stephen Curry, Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, Green, and Post has a plus 24.2 in 29 minutes. Yet, despite these numbers, Post was once again benched in favor of Podziemski in Saturday's disappointing loss to the Pacers in Indiana. While some of that decision is understandable given Golden State's shallow frontcourt, the team clearly performs better with Post on the floor. Even with a rough night from deep, hitting just 1 of 5 3-pointers, Post still contributed 9 points and 3 rebounds on 4 of 8 shooting in under 13 minutes. When he was subbed out with 5 minutes left in the fourth, the Warriors were leading by 7 and had a positive +4 on the court with him. From that moment, they went on a 17-5 run, ultimately suffering a humiliating loss to an undermanned Pacers squad. With veteran center Al Horford limited to 20 minutes per game and Tracy Jackson-Davis not playing, it's clear that Post should be seeing far more than his 16.3-minute average in this promising second-year campaign. Instead, he's seeing almost 4 minutes less per game than expected, despite showing strong signs of improvement on defense and rebounding, while remaining a consistent 3-point threat. Steve Kerr and the Warriors need to give Post Malone a larger role moving forward, around 20 minutes per game at least. Not just to manage the workloads of Horford and Green, but because the team simply performs better when he's on the court. Ignoring him any longer isn't just a waste of talent. It could cost Golden State in games where every possession matters. The repercussions of underutilizing Quinten Post extend beyond just missed points on the scoreboard. Analysts and insiders are already noting that Golden State's rotation struggles could cost them in tight games, especially against teams with deeper frontcourts. With Al Horford's minutes capped due to age and wear, and Tracy Jackson-Davis largely absent, Post is the most reliable, energetic option to maintain defensive intensity and spacing on offense. Post's impact is measurable not just in stats, but in team momentum. Every time he shares the floor with Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler, the Warriors lineup shows a tangible boost in both offensive and defensive efficiency. Kerr's hesitation to extend Post more consistent minutes is raising eyebrows among fans and analysts alike, with some suggesting that it could slow Golden State's ability to contend in a season where every matchup is crucial. Even teammates have started noticing his contributions. Bench players have praised Post's work ethic and basketball IQ, emphasizing how his energy lifts the team and allows the starters to operate more freely. Kerr now faces a balancing act, managing veteran workloads while ensuring the young center continues to develop and contribute at a high level. The upcoming stretch of games will be critical. Golden State faces multiple playoff-caliber opponents in the next 2 weeks, and relying too heavily on a limited rotation could backfire. If Post continues to outperform expectations in limited minutes, pressure will mount for Kerr to give him the role he has earned. Ultimately, the story of Quinten Post this season isn't just about stats, it's about opportunity. How Kerr handles this situation could have ripple effects on team chemistry, development of young talent, and even Golden State's playoff positioning. Ignoring Post now could mean missing a chance to harness a rising star who has already shown he can change the course of a game.